As far as like waking up, so you're getting out of these thick-soled shoes and your proprioceptors maybe are a little bit asleep. As far as waking those up and getting that sensory information back in through the feet and through the skin, do you have any advice there? Is it just go barefoot? Or I've heard some people talk about kind of walk on different textures, maybe walk on grass. I know some people do kind of like the walking on rocks and that kind of stuff. Do you advise any of that?
Yeah, so and there's also soles, these insoles that have got extra pricks on them, and I just think nature provides most of what we need. Like I don't think we need to add something to it. But that said, like nearly everyone that I see goes away with a lacrosse ball, like a massage ball, and with deep massage for the sole of the foot as their daily requirement, because that does a lot of things. Our feet are meant to be able to cope with deep pressure, and that deep pressure sends messages to our brain as to where we are in space. So this is helping with balance. It's helping with proprioception, with movement. So if we've been wearing a heeled cushioned shoe for a long time, our body's switched off that mechanism for feeling. And so it's like if I asked you to balance and then close your eyes, you would struggle to balance because our brain is so used to getting this feedback from our eyes to where we are in space. And so similarly, when we put that big cushion on our sole, our body's switched off from feeling what's happening at the ground, and that's affecting our balance. So to switch that back on, deep pressure is really important. So using a lacrosse ball or something like that to really get pressure into your foot. And then in terms of rough surfaces, it's about just slow exposure. Like there's some surfaces that I still really struggle on, but other surfaces I'm fine on, and then other people wouldn't be. So it really is about slow exposure, and it depends. Like you can get away with not having to do that, but in today's society. But if you want to be like a true barefooter, then it's going to be good for you. The more you expose your feet to texture, the better. But it has to just be graduated. Like if you try and go and walk on man-made gravel, it's often the man-made surfaces that are worst. It's really hard work, like the sharp gravel, little coarse rocks. Whereas if you walk on a forest path, it's usually very soft, and the dirt is soft and the leaves are soft. Like it's quite a nice experience. And so, or grass as well, it's quite a good, nice experience. And every step is different. And that's the issue, I guess, with basketball. The court is flat and hard, and so every step is the same if you're doing the same movement. But the variable is your movement then as well, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I've always felt the best when I get out on uneven surfaces like a trail, natural trail, and just go walking kind of some zero drop shoes. It just feels right. Feels like your feet are getting the stimulus that they need. Every step is a little bit different. So you're re-educating your foot on how to kind of pronate and supinate naturally. We could do that in the gym, but it's really hard to replicate that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That's something that I do suggest for people, if they're going to go into that transition, to go into those environments where every step is different. And it does make a hike or a trail run like next level. Like your ability to sense what's around you, like you tend to slow down to start with, which is a positive thing, and just become so much more conscious of your environment that it's like moving meditation basically.
Right. That's awesome. Now, is there any specific shoe that you recommend for walking around, for training? Obviously, if you're going to go play in the NBA, wear a basketball shoe. As of now, there's probably no solution for a zero drop option there. But like any shoes that you recommend? Yeah.
So the beauty of these types of shoes is I could have one that looks like my work shoe, or I could have one that looks like the one I could run a marathon in, or I could have one that looks like my basketball shoe, and they all just let my foot be a foot. So it doesn't actually matter which one you're using. The only precursor to that would be to say that the sole is sometimes different. So that some have like really heavy lugs for trail running, others have more of a court-based sole, but really they all just let your foot be a foot. So there's some really good there are actually hundreds of different brands. A big one that that you wear is Vibram, the 5 fingers, but a lot of people find that hard to come at because of the way they look. Vivo Barefoot is probably one of the biggest brands in the world and they've got their range so that you can look at one that looks like a runner to the one that looks like a dressy shoe and everything in between. So they tick all the bases in terms of what it looks like, but they all make your foot function exactly the same. You put this shoe on and it feels the same as the other one. It feels the same as the other one. It's not like you're wearing your office shoes and then you put your basketball shoes on. They all just let your foot be a foot. So it doesn't really matter. It just depends on what you like the look of.
Yeah. I'm new to the Vivo Barefoots. I get those confused. I'm new to the Vivo Barefoots, and I like those a lot. It is cool that I can wear them to the store without having to explain why I'm wearing them. If I wear the Vibram 5 Fingers, I get stopped by everybody, and then I got to go through the whole spiel of why I'm wearing them. I kind of got used to doing that. But yeah, the Vivos, they feel, or they look like a regular shoe, but they are extremely flexible. You could twist them anyway. And those are a good zero drop shoe as well.
Yeah, there's some good shoes that are what I would call transition shoes, which might be helpful to know. Even Nike made the Nike Free, but that still had quite a heel on it, and it still had lots of cushioning. So I don't love it as a transition shoe. That was their version of a minimalist shoe. And there's a brand called Altra, Altra, and they've got a model that are lower. They're all zero drop, broad in the forefoot, flexible, but with some cushioning. And so this is for some people that can't get away from the idea of cushioning. But like you said, your body should be doing the cushioning itself. It should be doing this adapting to the ground. And so even that is a compromise to have any cushioning if you're going full barefoot,